Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to show you how to draft, cut and sew this bustier top. Even if you're a beginner, this video is also for you because I'm going to explain everything from the beginning to the end in a way that you're going to understand, and you're going to come out with a perfect bustier top. This can also serve as a tube top if you don't want to fix in the straps. If you're coming across my channel for the first time, thanks for stopping by. My name is Ifeoluwa. Please don't forget to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and also feel free to leave your questions and your comments in the comment section. Thank you very much guys. Now let's get started. Now these are the measurements needed for this top. I have the bust, the waist, the bust point, the under bust, the front waistline, the back waistline, the across back, and the armhole circumference. So I'm going to start by measuring out the chest line measurement, which is my armhole circumference divided by 2, or use your bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. And I'm going to mark out the bust point, the under bust, and the front waistline, or wherever you want your top to be. Then I'm going to do the same thing at the other side, and I'll connect with a straight line. So I have this as my shoulder line, this is the chest line, the bust point, the under bust, front waistline, and this side here is the center front, that is the middle, and this side is the side front. Now I'm going to measure out my across back measurement, which is the shoulder to shoulder measurement divided by 2. I have 14 inches divided by 2, which is 7 inches. Measure it from the shoulder line down to the chest line, and then I'm going to create a straight line. Now I'll go ahead to create the armhole. I'm going to come down from the shoulder line by 1 inch. Whatever I have left, I'll divide by 2, mark that point. Then from that point, I'll come in by 0.75. Now on the chest line, I'm going to fix in the bust measurement divided by 4. So I'll go ahead to connect those 3 points with my armhole curve. Now I'm going to come here to fix in the bust span measurement, which is the nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. So I have 7 inches for this divided by 2, which is 3.5 inches. So I'm going to mark it from the chest line all the way to the front waistline, and I'm going to draw out a straight line to connect the points. Now on the waistline towards the center front, I'm going to come in by 0.5 inch. I'm going to come in by 0.5 inch, and towards the side front, I'm going to come out by 1.5 inches. So this is just like taking the darts for this part. So I went ahead to do the same thing on the under bust, and then I'm connecting with a straight line. So after that, I'm going to use my cuff to connect from the under bust to the bust point on both sides. Now I'm going to fix in my basic neckline, even though I want to be using this particular neckline for the main top, but just to guide me on fixing the darts, the shoulder darts area. So I used 3 inches for both the neck width and the neck depth. Then I connected my shoulder slants. Now on the shoulder slant here, I'm going to draw a straight line down to meet the bust point. So what I have on the shoulder slant here, I'm going to divide by 2. So I had about 4 inches in total divided by 2, which is 2. Then I'm connecting into the bust point. Now here I'm going to measure out the neckline, the original neckline I'm using for this top. So I'm going to be leaving it at the chest line, which is 7 inches. You can decide to go above, or you can decide to go below. It depends on how much you want the cleavage to be open. Now on the armhole area, I'm also going to mark out what I want there. I'm using 6 inches for this top. So you can also go above, you can go below. It also depends on the depths that you want. Then I'm going to connect either using, you can decide to use any neckline that you like. I'm going to be using a sweetheart neckline in this one. So I'll connect from the armhole over to the chest line, the middle point there. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to take in that on this chest line area, on this neckline I just created. I'm going to be fixing that there so that by the time you wear this top, it's not going to have gaping on the chest line area. So it's going to lay well on the chest line. So I'm going to be taking 0.5 inch on both sides. So altogether I have 1.5 inches. So I'm going to connect into the bust point. So this way you're not going to have gaping on your chest line. It's going to stick well to your body. Now I already have my chest line measurement there, but I'm going to replace whatever I have here after taking this dart. I'm going to replace it back on the chest line. So I had about 1 inch in total. And then for my front waistline, I'm going to mark out the front waistline divided by the waistline measurements divided by 4. I'm going to mark that out. And then I'm going to replace whatever I have here on the waistline. So I had about 2 inches I replaced it on the waistline. Then I'm going to connect from the chest line down to the waistline. Now, since this is like a tube top, I'm going to connect from this neckline here to the side here. I'm going to use my cuff to blend it into the side. I'm not going to leave it as it is like this, so I'm going to blend it into that side. It's just like closing up that area, since I'm not going to fix in any sleeves or anything. So you can use one part of your cuff to connect into the bust measurement that you've marked out there. Now it is time to fix in the side that I have my front waistline and back waistline. The difference between the two is 2 inches. So I'm going to mark out that 2 inches at the side here from the bust point, mark out the 2 inches, and then I'm going to connect with a straight line into the bust point at the middle. So guys, this is basically all for drafting the front pattern of this top. Now these parts are going to be cut out of my pattern paper. We don't need this part. Now, if you're going to fix in straps like my own, go ahead to measure out the length of the fronts before cutting out. So I measured out from the shoulder line down to the neckline. I had about 5.25 inches. So you can just keep that and record it. Then later on, you use it to cut out the straps. Now, before cutting out the pattern paper, I'm going to fold this part of the neckline in, and by the time it is folded in, you'll see that you won't have equal neckline anymore. So I'm going to replace that before completely cutting out, so that by the time you cut out on the fabric, one side won't be longer than the other as it is here. So I'm going to use my French curve, the same neckline that I drew at first. I'm going to use it to draw the same neckline back. So this way you're going to have equal sides by the time you cut out. So now I'll go ahead to cut out what I have. So for the side that here, we're not going to completely cut it out, but we're going to cover it up. Now I'm going to cut out this part here and stop a little bit before the bust point. Then I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. For this side here, cut out this part and stop a little bit before the bust point, so that it will be easy to cover up the side that. Then I'm going to use my masking tape to cover it up, and that is it. So you can see that the lines here too are not equal. I'm also going to replace that and draw a new line from the chest line down to the waistline. Then I'm going to proceed to cut out what I have. If you're still watching this, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel and also give this video a thumbs up so it can be visible to many more people. Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate you. So for this part here, you may want to avoid this sharp corner of the bustier, so you can just use your French curve to blend it to make it curvier. Then I'm going to cut out. So guys, this is it for the front pattern of this top. Now let's move on to the back pattern. So for the back pattern, I'm going to start by removing the zip allowance, by taking out the zip allowance. So I'm using 1 inch for the zip allowance. Then I'm going to use a straight line to connect the points together. Now I'm going to measure out the chest line, the same thing I used at the front, which is the armhole divided by 2. Then I'm going to mark out the back waistline, which is different from the front waistline. So you make sure you take accurate measurements concerning when it comes to your front and the back waistline, because it is usually different. So after doing that, I'm going to connect the points together with a straight line. So I have this as my shoulder line, this as my chest line, and this as my back waistline. Now this line here is going to be the center back line. Now I'm going to mark out my across back, which is divided by 2, the shoulder to shoulder divided by 2, starting from this center back line. Then I'm going to use a straight line to connect from the shoulder line down to the chest line. Now to create the armhole, just like I did for the front, I'll come down by 1 inch from the shoulder line. Whatever I have left, I'll divide by 2, mark that point, and come in by 0.5 from that point. Now on the chest line, I'm going to take the bust measurements divided by 4, and I'm going to use my armhole curve to connect those points together. Now I'm going to fix in my neckline and shoulder slants, which are actually not necessary. Now on the center back line here from the waistline, I'm going to come in by 1 inch. So this way I'm going to prevent any zip bulge that might want to happen on the top. So coming in by 1 inch, I'm going to connect into the chest line. Now from this point here, I'm going to measure out my waistline measurement divided by 4. If you want to put that, you can go ahead to fix in that, but for this tutorial I won't be fixing in any that. Then I'm going to connect from the chest line to down to the waistline. Now you can see that even in the difference of the front and the waistline, you can see that we have equal sides for both the front and the back. So that is because we've taken in the difference on the side darts for the front. Now I'll go ahead fixing the neckline I want for the back. I'm using the same 6 inches on the armhole area. Then by this side here, I'm also using 6 inches because it's going to be a straight line. You can make it V, you can make it, okay, you know, it depends on any neckline that you want. So I'm using just a straight one. Now from here, I'm going to come in by 1 inch. It's also going to give the top more fitting. So I'm coming in by 1 inch, and then I'm going to connect with my curve into the chest line the same way I did for the front. Now I'm going to go ahead to cut out what I have. So I almost forgot to measure out the length I'm going to use for the straps of the back. You know, we already measured out the front, which is 5.25, and then for the back here I have about 5.5. So I'm just going to record that, so it is going to be easy for me by the time I want to cut out the main straps. So guys, this is what I have for the front pattern and the back pattern of this top. Now I'll go ahead to cut this out on my fabric. So this is it after cutting out on the fabric. I've gone ahead to fixing all the necessary sewing allowance that I need on my fabric. So I cut out both lining and the main fabric. I'm going to use an Ankara fabric, and this is the center front, which is cut out on fold, and then I went ahead to add 0.5 round for the sewing allowance, and this is the side front. I added 0.5 here for the sewing allowance, and then 1 inch here. You can decide to add more than 1 inch if you want for your side seam allowance, but 1 inch is just fine for this one. And this is the back. The zip allowance doesn't need any other allowances added to it. Then I added 1 inch for the side seam to the same thing as the front, and half up, half down. Now since this is going to be a padded bustier top, I'm going to go ahead to cut out the wording I'm going to use to pad the top. So I'm using my pattern, my front pattern paper for this. I'm going to cut out what I'll use. Just make sure that this pattern paper you are using, you don't you're no longer in use of it, because by the time we cut this out, it's going to be useless. So I'm going to come down by half here and also half at the other side, so that it's not going to interfere, so that the wording won't interfere with the main fabric. So I'm going to come down by half here and also do the same thing for this side, and then I'm going to connect them together. So which means starting from this point all the way to the under bust, that is what I'm using for the wording. So that is it for the center front. I'm going to cut out, then I'll go ahead to cut out my side front too. So for the side front, I'll do exactly the same thing, come down by ½ inch, and then I'm going to use my curve to connect all the way to the under bust, and then I'm going to cut out. So guys, this is it for the what I'm going to use to cut out the wording. So I'm using a thick wording for this tutorial. So this is the wording, and then I'm going to place my pattern paper on it. Don't forget that the center front is going to be on fold. I won't be adding any allowance up and down. I'm only going to add at the side here that we are going to be joining to the fabric. So I'm adding 0.5 here and no allowance up, no allowance down. So I'll do the same thing for the side. I'm only adding allowance at the parts that will be joined to the fabric. The other parts do not need any allowance. So this is it after cutting out, and I'm going to attach this to the fabric. You know that the wording has the right side and the wrong side. So the right side can be easily attached with your iron to the fabric. So that is what I'm going to do here. Now I forgot to mention that it is better for you to notch the under bust of this on your fabric, so that by the time you want to attach the wording to the fabric, it will be easy for you to locate where the under bust should stop. So just go ahead to notch the under bust on the fabric this way. So this is how it looks like after attaching the wording to the fabric, after using my iron to press it to the fabric. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to join the sides together. So I'll go ahead to do that, and make sure that while sewing this part you are very careful because of the curves, so you won't sew it wrongly, and you can even use your pin to hold them down before sewing. So I'm going to sew the lining separately and the fabric separately. So I have gone ahead to cut out the straps I'm going to use for this top, and what I measured out is what I told us to take note of the other time. For the front I had 5.25 for mine, and the back 5.5, so altogether 10.75, and then I added an extra 1 inch for sewing allowance, so altogether I have 11.75. So I cut out 2, and then for the how wide you want the straps to be, that entirely depends on you. So guys, this is what I have after joining the fronts together. You can see the bustier, you can see how it is standing well. So if you drafted the right thing, this is what you are meant to have. The cup area is meant to really be structured, is meant to stand very well. So I've also gone ahead to iron this. You can use your tailor's arm so that you can get the desired curves that you want. So this is also what I have for the lining, fabric separately, the lining separately, and these are my straps. Now before going ahead to join the straps to this top, I'm going to first of all join the sides together. So the same way we've been operating, the fabric separately, the lining separately. This is because we want to come out with a neatly finished top, right? So the sides, using 1 inch that I already left as the seam allowance. So guys, this is how it looks like after joining the sides together. This is what I have, and this is also what I have for my lining. Now it is time to fix the straps and then sew the neckline. So to fix the straps, I'm going to pin the strap to the top. You can decide to fix it anywhere you want, but the middle of the bustier area is actually okay. The middle of the joining that we have there is actually okay. So I'm going to fix it there, and then I'll do the same thing for the other one. So I'm going to take it to the back to also pin. Just make sure that you are careful with this part so that your straps are not tangled. So you can see what I'm just carefully watch what I'm doing. Then I took about 2.5 away from the sides to fix in for the back. So you can also place it anywhere you feel like it's comfortable for you. So this is what it looks like after fixing the straps. You make sure that they are straight, the straps are straight. So that is what I'm trying to check here. Now I can now fix in the lining. I can now use the lining to turn over the neckline. So you make sure that they are well aligned. You can pin them together, and then you sew the neckline and you turn over the neckline. So guys, you can see how this top looks like after joining everything together. You can see how neat it is. You make sure that you iron this very well. You can also see the inside. So guys, we've come to the end of this tutorial. If you want, you can go ahead to make this a dress, or if you want it to just be a top, leave it like this and then you continue with the other processes. So let me know if this was helpful, and let me know if you're going to try this out in the comment section, guys. Please do not forget to subscribe before leaving, and also give this video a thumbs up so you can be visible to many more people. You can also ask your questions and leave your comments in the comment section. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. I'm going to see you in my next tutorial. Bye.